How's it going, everybody? My name is Ray. I'm fairly new to the Spark Driver game. I've seen quite a few of these videos for little hints and tricks as being a Spark Driver. These are the 16 things that I've noticed out of watching all the videos and learning for myself that I wish I would have known prior to doing my first delivery. All right. First and foremost, set goals for yourself. Personally, I try to set a goal of $150 to $200 a week. Fortunately, I've been pretty lucky. I do about 2 hours a night after work. Pick up a couple offers a day. And then on one of my off days, I might spend 3 hours at the store, doing either curbside or in-store pickups. With that, normally, the in-store pickups will often pay you the most money. So with that goes number 2, evaluate your orders. I try to have it be the equivalent of $2 per mile wherever it's going. However, you do have to factor in your return trip into that because that's not counted into your initial trip mileage. Okay. When you do get to the store, which is number 3, you have to choose your correct parking location. They do not want you to park in the curbside pickup areas at all. From what the Spark app has said and what other drivers have also stated, they want you to go anywhere from 150 to 1 mile away. Those supposedly get you your best offers. Okay. Normally for me, when I sit at the store, I sit on the grocery side and the farthest part I can sit in the parking lot until an order comes in. Then I'll move up. When I move up, I try to get as close as I can to one of the cart returns. So when I go into the store to do my my pickup, then I can come back out and the cart return's right there. I don't have to walk across the parking lot again to try to find a cart return. Okay. With that, this is number 4, learn your own store's layout. It'll help you along the way and make things go much quicker. In the app, it gives you a listing of the way that the app wants you to shop your items. You do not have to do that. When you go into the app, you hit the little back button there, and it'll bring up a list of all the items you haven't shopped yet. If you know, per se, you want to get all the vegetables all at once, or all the paper products out of the way, for your bigger items, you can go get those out of the way first. And then you can just go back to the way the app wants you to go, or you just proceed on the way you were. Okay? Personally, I would, going to number 5, I would avoid certain orders such as prescription drop-offs. From what I have not done one, but I have heard other people having their accounts being deactivated over this, because once you do them or an alcohol delivery, you have to do the facial rec to get back into the app. If that messes up for whatever reason, you can be deactivated. Okay, it's going to be a challenge to get you back going on. So, personally, it's up to you, but I would totally skip that section. Going to number 6, when you have to go pick up certain items, know your limitations. Not everybody's a superhero. There's people of all ages I've seen doing this. Not everybody can keep lifting, 50-pound things of water or anything of that nature. Sometimes people just can't do it. So know your limitations. Also, know your vehicle limitations. I'll tell you a quick story. Once I took an order. I didn't preview the order good enough, and there was a 75-inch TV in that order. Mind you, at that time, I had a little Ford EcoSport. It wasn't going to fit. So I ended up having to cancel that order and waiting to get another one. All right, so just make sure you know your limitations, also your vehicle limitations. I also will reject any very low or no tip orders. Unless it's a very, very, like 1 mile away and it's a couple items here and there, I might do them. Other than that, you gotta remember, we're here to make money, and mostly our tips make our money, okay? But once again, that's a preference on you, so just do it wisely. For the offer times, for number 8, the round robins generally come out 14 and 20 after the hour. The general merchandise drops are the top and 30 in the hour. So you just have to know what you're looking for and be ready for those times. Number 9, I would prioritize hourly rate over the big order numbers. Meaning you can sometimes do 2 or 3 $15 orders before you can do the one $25 order. So you can actually make more money doing the smaller orders than just waiting on the big ones. Okay. Number 11, for the curbside pickups, pay attention on the app what time that pickup time is. Just because you're there early does not mean you are going to get those items early. And if you're sitting there waiting, 10, 15 minutes past that pickup time, I've had to actually call the store and ask them what's going on. And, they may be busy, especially this time of year. If it's going to be an extended period, you can always cancel that order. And then just attempt to pick up another order down the line. That way, like I said, once again, we're here to make money. Number 12, if there's going to items out of stock and you need a substitution, you can always contact the customers. Inside the app, you can either text them or you can call them to find out what they would like for their substitutions. I mean, there are options where it does give you another item to get, but they don't necessarily want those items. And at the end of the day, when you're going to check out, when you do your cart review, they may not want that item that you selected. So then you got to go put that back, which wastes you time in the long run. And communicating with the customers can go a long way. The tips can be changed anywhere from 20 up to 24 hours from the time of purchase. So I've never had tips taken away personally, but I have had money added to the tips for being nice. So just be very courteous to the customer. There's sometimes when you go to deliver that item, if it's an elderly person, you know it. You can offer to, if they need assistance bringing their items inside. Just something nice. People generally will give you better if you're better customer service. Going along with the tips, number 13, I've seen a lot on social media now about tip baiting. If you guys don't know what tip baiting is, it's where there might be a $20 order, but it's a $50 tip, added plus that $25 order. And then once you deliver that order, that customer takes that tip away completely. That does that to ensure that they're going to get their order. Like I said, I've never seen it. I have had one other person, the driver here, state that it has happened to them. It wasn't quite that big of an order, but they did have their tips taken away. And what I would recommend that to do is, if you can remember where that address was, just possibly next time they have that order, you see an order for that person, reject that order. I would not do that again. Fool me once, that's fine. You're not going to fool me a second time. Okay. Number 14, be polite to the staff in the store. They can help you a lot. If you don't know where everything is, they can generally find whatever you need. All right. Also, if you're rude to them, they can also report you to Spark and you can be deactivated. Remember, these guys they don't get paid a lot, okay? They have a rough time. They get crapped down by customers all day long. Don't be one of the problems. If you help them, be nice to them, they'll be more than welcome to help you. Number 15, which I haven't had an issue with this either, use reliable navigation. I've never had an issue with the navigation in the app. It's always worked fine for me. However, I have had a couple of drivers here say that the app has brought them to the wrong address, so they use like Google Maps, for instance, and it brings them to the correct place. Just have something on backup, just in case. And number 16, last but not least, track everything. I use Stride, which tracks my mileage, which I didn't know about until 3 weeks in. It tracks all your mileage, and it also, which you can use on taxes, because you gotta remember we're all independent contractors, which now we can use our mileage towards our taxes. And also you can enter your income into the app, and it will tell you how much roughly you are going to have to pay in taxes at the end of the year. So you can set that aside. I generally take, I use the OnePay card, and that's where all my money goes that I make from this app. And I take about 25% of that and move it straight into the savings section, so I have it just in case I need it. Will I probably need it? No, because the mileage will probably make up the difference. But if it doesn't, that money's always there. That is the 16 best tips and tricks that I could give you. There is actually one more, make it 17. I would go out and buy a phone mount for your shopping cart. It screws right onto the handle of the shopping cart. You can scan, that way you don't have to take the phone off every time you go to scan something. Matter of fact, it was like $9 on Amazon, I think. It was well worth the money. You know, this is what it is. This little doohickey here. You know, the phone goes in this section. That part clamps right onto the cart. It was $9. You can angle it just right so when you get the item, you hit the scan button and it goes right from your top of your cart, so you don't have to take it off. With that, that's going to end this video. Anybody that sees this video and does Spark already, that has any other suggestions, please add it to the comments, and share and like this video if you would, please. Thank you very much. Have a good night.